To all of my patrons, and particularly the most generous among you listed here, thank you for pledging to promote stronger Fate Grand Order content. If that clip alone didn't sell you on Xuanzang, then, well, I guess you could always watch the rest of this video. By the way, we're pronouncing her name as Xuanzang for the rest of this video. Get used to it, please. I just think it sounds cool. The question here isn't what Xuanzang does, but how do we use this Buddha-powered titty monk to the breast of her abilities? What? Since we can't seem to go a single video without mentioning Merlin like it's some modern variant of Godwin's Law, I think it's pretty obvious that you could pair he with she and they'd kung fu the Naraka out from more than just assassins. So what else is there? Being basically the Jalter of her class with at least 1,000 more attack points at maximum than any other caster across all servers, it's kind of obvious, right? Make her palm foes even harder. But she still has a caster deck, with 3 arts cards and only 2 buster cards, if you count her Noble Phantasm. Yeah, that's right. She's stuck in the same group as Emiya, Arjuna, David. Why are so many of these archers? So right away, the craft essence selection for this master of stiff arming is either surprisingly varied or annoyingly difficult to determine, depending on who you ask. Oh, and her star weight is the usual caster colander you've come to expect, so her critical strength is unreliable unless you're giving her someone as quick as Jack to work with. But isn't there someone more conducive to slapping assassins into mountainsides without mixing cavalry classes? Enter Elena Blavatsky, my little purple noodle granny. Hey, you'll need somebody beside that waiver you've handcuffed yourself to. Tamamo is always a great choice, but Elena brings exactly the applications I'm looking for. Low star weight of her own to make her best tier 6 hit quick card actually fair between herself and the monk with a bosom the size of her head. A team NP gauge boost that works well in tandem with Xuanzang's own massive NP gauge boost, granting you the potential to unleash the 8 trigrams 64 palms whenever you please. Actually, I think that reference is Taoist. Also, it's Naruto. They also share 6 arts cards between them since they're both casters. Consistent deck building is important when you have a clear goal in mind, and it couldn't be clearer here. Unleash all the Noble Phantasms. Elena's is AoE with defense debuffs, so put her first in an MP chain with Xuanzang to gather maximum results toward the all-card effectiveness boost that the pseudo-lolly can cast for 3 turns on everyone. Fun fact, did you know that Elena's Buddhist too? My littlest philosophy teacher even has a bond craft essence that significantly increases the party's strength toward assassins specifically, with 0 drawback. And considering that Xuanzang also provides a 3-turn party boost to everyone's NP gain and critical star drop rate with just 1 skill, so this entire hypothesis can break bank, yeah, it's a match made in the second life, really. And I feel so proud to have finally discovered it! Since this blessed gender bend can't seem to decide with which method she wants to whack people, it's pretty easy for me to recommend any craft essence that generally boosts her attack potency no matter what she chooses. Art of Death, Kiss Your Hand, and especially Golden Sumo are all sufficient choices. The CCC event is also surprisingly tuned to her needs, granting both Our Conquest is the Sea of Stars and Student Council of the Lunar Sea. But if you don't care about tactics and just want her Noble Phantasm to be the open-handed equivalent of Saitama's Serious Punch, you should probably already know by now that the Black Grail will always be the fuel you need. Only thing that beats it is Versus with that insane 80% boost against divine enemies. I only bring this up for those twitching at the itching to bitch slap Steno's smug smile across the planet. Or any of these choice smugs for that matter. Berserkers apply too, of course, but at that point just slap Versus on anyone. Remember, Xuanzang's a caster, and she's still got a 0.9 times damage modifier holding her back, and she can't make a Buster Brave chain to rectify that. Formal Craft is always a solid choice to take advantage of this, but as an alternative, I guess it doesn't hurt to choose a craft essence that gives her an increased star weight, considering she's supposed to be a boss-killing powerhouse, providing her greater opportunities to perform critical hits to double damage and double NP gain makes sense. But please keep in mind to put fragments of 2030 on somebody else too, if that's the case, as you'll be throwing around a lot of arts cards, which are definitely the worst at dropping critical stars. Unless you really do plan on teaming her up with Jack, or preferably someone a bit more arts-friendly and buff-considerate like Shutendoji. I'm confident you masters could develop 100 new ideas for how to manipulate those monstrous memories all on your own. You might even be able to figure out what that taunt skill she has could be good for, besides just giving Mash a second appropriate target for her invincibility skill. She has the lowest HP of all 5-star casters, so let's not pretend she's some kind of tank, even with the damage cut the skill provides. Maybe team her up with Nightingale? This angel has a targetable buster boost, which equates to a stronger NP for Badonkamunk, and a targetable heal, along with 2 arts cards and an intensely healing arts NP. Oh, and how could I forget? She too wields a 6-hit quick card. Her tits are slightly smaller than Xuanzang's though, so those critical stars won't be caught by the pull of gravity from her bust over Chinese Martha. See, Aliena and Xuanzang can share the same star weight because being an adorable lolly balances out bountiful boobies, and this metaphor has gone too far in a few places. Point is, I plucked another 100% synergistic option for you right out of the blue. See? There's so much more available in this game than just Waver and Jalter and goddamn Merlin. But hey, that's the beauty of this buxom Bodhisattva. She tickles the brain with what she has and what she is capable of, and that hasn't stopped Japan from thinking she's actually pretty alright. Strongest offensive caster in the game, folks. Just saying. I just thought of one more real quick trick for those of you wondering about the potential of Kaleidoscope. The idea is pretty situational, but it helps make sense of Xuanzang's deck. Alright, so you have your Kaleidoscope slapped on? Have some outside skill grant her an additional 20% to the gauge, through a Servant, the Mages Association, Mystic Code, whatever. This is assuming you haven't max limit broken it yet like most people. Form a Brave Chain having Xuanzang's NP in the lead, with 2 of her arts cards following it. The NP fires off, she's back to 0. Now, both your arts cards and the gifted extra attack can hopefully grant enough gauge to reach 20%. If you're not confident in this, use the second skill to give her the taunt we just talked about. That'll reward her with an extra 3% per enemy hit. Next turn, if you have her first skill maxed out, boost her NP gauge back up to 100% to fire it off a second time in a row, and you've got a nice NP strength increase to go with it this time. With a teammate assist, she'll probably kill most assassins in just 2 strikes, 1 for each hand. Pow pow!